hey, as always, it's me, your host, Franny. By popular demand, I am dropping the Laredo's busiest music nerd intro, as much as it hurts me, but gotta do what's best for business. As always, I am here with my co-host, Dr. Arnoldo Treviño. How's it going, man? How you been?
Doing pretty good. Today I am not that darn Arn. I am a ball of Arn.
A ball of I wanted to come up with a bit of a pun for that one, the way I have been with all of your past iterations of the Arn nickname, but I've got nothing on this one.
Yeah, so. I just typed in Arn and whatever rhymes with that, and there's only like two things, so I'm kind of done. Like I don't know what else to put.
Arn,
Arn Barn Yarn.
You haven't put a. Yeah, you're right. Oh, ball of Arn, like a ball of yarn. Okay.
That it barely just hit you right now.
Okay, it just hit me now. Yeah, that's where I'm at mentally right now.
So, since you're not the Laredo's busiest music nerd, what are you gonna be? Like, what is gonna be your tag?
I don't know. I need to think about that one. I think I'm just gonna be Laredo's moderately busy music nerd.
Okay. I was thinking
that's the working title for now.
I was thinking we can bring back your neighborhood Beardo.
Neighborhood Beardo was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
The Root Beer Puppy is another one.
Dude, rest in peace that name though. That was a good name for Instagram.
If there's one thing that is my comedy legacy in this world, have been my various Instagram handles.
We definitely need to revisit that Root Beer Poppy. You know, we need to get back into the root beer game.
Franza Maker Dance was another good one.
That was a good one, especially when you told me. Didn't you make that up because a baby was sorry, there's some fireworks going on in the background. Someone was holding their baby, waiting in line for Santa, and that song was like the hit song of like that winter or something, and they were just like singing it to the baby.
I think that's what I can't remember the origin story. I know it's a direct reference to Bands That Make a Dance by Juicy J, but how it struck me to use that as a name, I can't quite possibly remember. That sounds like that would be it, you know? Like it sounds like that would happen to me. Or instead of being the Root Beer Poppy, shameless plug to one of my favorite local businesses. I'm just gonna start being the Post Melon. Yeah, shameless plug here for the homies at Dosis Coffee. They're not paid sponsors, but they did name a drink after me called the Post Melon. It was supposed to be like a one-time specialty drink for Friday, but they're gonna have it again this Monday. And you guys should go get it so it can stay.
Tell us what's in it.
It is a watermelon shrub, mint, and Topo Chico.
Watermelon shrub. You can change your tag to a watermelon schlub.
Ooh, I like that one. I was also playing around with the idea of changing my tag to bittersweet symphony. Reference to the Verb's hit single Bittersweet Symphony.
And also being a simp.
Also being a total simp. Yeah, that's also a big part of it.
My queen.
But yeah, my queen. But yeah, please go to Dosis Coffee, open from 11:30 to 2:30 p.m. Get yourself a Post Malone so they can keep my picture up on their window, because they used my picture as the flyer for the drink. And I'm not a man of many accomplishments, so this one's definitely topping the list as of now. So I want to forever keep a drink with my Instagram handle on my favorite coffee truck's window forever. So that's my plug of the day for now. Before we get into it, go ahead.
Go for it.
No, go ahead.
I wanted to mention before we get into any podcast that you wore 3 hats at the last podcast that we recorded. You wore your sun blocking hat, and then
I
you
did.
wore the Jason Mraz hat, and then I think you switched to this hat at the very end. I don't
did.
know when, but in editing the video, I was like, wait, hold on. Like, this man changes his hat 3 times.
Okay, so the reason why I changed from the sun hat to the Jason Mraz fedora, the straw fedora, was because I told the story of how, in trying to be completely sarcastic and shitting on that fedora, my ex-girlfriend bought me that fedora. And I don't know, I feel like the conversation hyped me up enough to bust it out as proof that it's still there, you know? And then the switching from the fedora to the Dosis hat is the fact that even back then, my head was huge and the hat does not fit me. If you go back and watch the video for the last cast, you'll see it, exponentially just rising over my head to the point that it ends up looking like Timmy Turner's hat just floating right above me. So I just got tired of constantly adjusting that hat. And I don't know why I just didn't reach back for the sun hat. It was right next to this one, but I just grabbed this one instead. I'm not entirely sure what compelled me to do that, but I do know half of the reason why is that I didn't want to wear the fucking fedora anymore.
It was the joke was passed.
I'm not sure why. I'm still not sure why I have it.
I'm surprised you still have it.
Out of all the things I've gotten rid of, I don't know how that wasn't first on my list.
It was just.
I've lost many a shirt, but I still have that hat.
It was it's for the sake of the joke. You knew that this eventually would come, like, circle back. So I'm just gonna blame your good comedy.
I think part of the reason why too is that I've had this dumb idea for a Halloween costume that I don't think anybody would understand, which is I wanted to dress up as the guitar guy from every high school, which is why part of the reason why I kept that hat. Like, I was gonna show up at a party with an acoustic guitar and just fuck up the intro to Wonderwall for like an hour straight and just be like, wait, I got it, hold on. And then just keep doing that. And that was going to be my costume. So great comedy.
Probably not. But hey, it was good for the time.
It was a good time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think talking about comedy, for my intro, I think you should say the man who's never bombed a stage, because I have yet to bomb a stage or an open mic or any sort of performance.
To be completely fair, you've only performed once, but
one and done.
But you know what? When you're right, you're right. You can't argue the facts. You can't argue with the numbers, and the numbers say you have never bombed at a show before.
No.
So,
it's just like when we used to play Smash. I would just go to your house, play once, win, and then be like, all right, well, I'm done.
I always hated that, but fair is fair. I like that you referenced the last podcast we did, because I do kind of want to reference that. We spoke, we did a special episode of quite possibly my favorite sideshow to do, which is called a Top 5 Whatever. If you missed it, it was a lot of fun. What we did is we tried to rank the top 5 whitest songs of all time. And if you don't want any spoilers, I won't say them, but do go watch the episode. Now, this is somewhat of a spoiler, but the day after we filmed the episode, I was talking to my girlfriend's older brother, who happened to watch the stream that day, and he gave me a list of tracks that we forgot to mention to even include in the running. And once he said them, I felt very bad about that.
What songs?
First and foremost, Bop by Hanson.
We mentioned that. We mentioned that.
But it didn't make the running. And the other glaring exception, Summer Girls by LFO.
Oh, fuck. We totally did not sing that.
We did not say LFO. And it sucks because that is such an amazing song for all of the wrong reasons. I would love to dedicate a random episode of this podcast just to the dissection of the lyrics of LFO Summer Girls.
You want to do that this coming Thursday?
I'm down. Let's do it.
All right, we're gonna do it. You've heard it here, folks.
You've heard it here, folks. One person.
One person.
We're going to be reviewing the lyrics to LFO's "Summer Girls." It's going to be a deep dive, very serious, academic review of the lyrics. I'm going to go to Texas Thrift and buy myself a tweed coat with elbow patches to fully to fully
immerse yourself
into the academic review of LFO Summer Girls. Talking about reviews, this is a review podcast. And
it is.
Today, yeah. And today we are talking about Errorzone by Vane.
So
you go ahead. You introduced this album. This was your suggestion.
So this goes out to our one. Oh, well, I guess they left. So our one fan. This goes out to our many fan, which is myself. No, just this album. We got Vane, who is a Boston-based band. Can't really define them as a metalcore band. Kind of like a mathcore, maybe like a doom tech. It's very a technical heavy band from Boston. This is their first debut album. Before they just put out a bunch of like EPs, and they did a heavy touring with a lot of bands. And they are very good live. By the way, very very short and simple on their sets, but to the point where they get their point across and they leave you wanting more, almost like a dish served at like a fancy restaurant has like a few, like one orange slice and like a cube of meat, and it's like, wow, this bite was so good, but where I want more bites. But you gotta wait for it. That's how I define this band and this album.
And you know what? I guess that's an apt comparison for this album. I guess we're getting into the opening thoughts. I will say this. It is an enjoyable album if you're into the kind of music, if you're into a metalcore, a tech core, math core, any of the core.
A derivative of a core.
Of a core. Then yeah, it's definitely an enjoyable listen. But where I have an issue with this album is that I do wish there was more. And I'm not sure if I mean that in the sense that I was so enamored with it that I want more material, or more that there was like an emptiness that I got. Like there was something missing on this album for me, because full disclosure, this album was my introduction to Vane. So up until this point, they have kind of flown under my radar. If you know my taste in music, as much as I do enjoy and dabble in hardcore, metalcore, doom metal, stuff like that, as much as I do like to occasionally immerse myself in those genres, I do kind of tend to go towards a softer music, I guess. I'm not sure if softer would be the correct terminology, but not music that is as heavy. I do much prefer, like a good pop punk, power pop, indie, emo, stuff like that. So this band very much flew under my radar, but as soon as I started hearing this album, I could not stop thinking, I could not stop myself from comparing it to an album that we have reviewed in the past, which is Code Orange. I believe it was Forever.
Can't do that. You can't do that. That's the same mistake that fucking Fantano did. These are two different fucking bands, two different levels and wavelengths. Like just honestly, like comparing to like one's from Philadelphia, one's from fucking Boston. Yes, they're both northeast, but no, they're completely different in sound, in delivery. Yes, come on.
I felt like there were some stylistic similarities, but maybe it's my ear for metalcore is not very refined. Maybe that could be it. But a lot of the glitchy tech stuff that you hear throughout this album, I felt like we heard on Forever and quite possibly utilized there to a more impactful degree. So whereas in this album, I enjoyed the music, I enjoyed what I heard, but whereas in this album, the electronic passages, the industrial segments just felt like deviations. I felt like on Forever, they served the purpose. So I don't know, maybe over the course of this review, my opinion on those will change. I'll see them from a different light. But that's just kind of where I came in. Also, the album is relatively short. It is 27 minutes. I don't think any song goes over the 2.5 minute mark.
There's only a few songs that go to like 4 minutes. There's like one or two.
Yeah, like one or two. So in that regard, yeah, this album did leave me wanting more because I felt like I really didn't get a clear idea of what Vane is supposed to be. You know,
I think. Well, Vane includes more of a drum and bass like style in a few of their songs. Also, I think when it comes to this album, these songs are more like episodes, while in Code Orange's Forever, that felt more like a movie. You know, like if you can kind of understand what I mean. These songs are all kind of within themselves. But in Code Orange, I felt like those songs, it's like you have to listen to this
way
one
more
over here.
conceptual.
Exactly. And these albums didn't they debuted like not too far apart. Forever came out in 2017. I don't know the exact date, and then 2018. That's when you had Vane's errorzone come out. So honestly, you can say like these songs, you know. No, they're similar, but very to one who's into the whole heavy hardcore whatever scene. I think you can hear a difference, and I know you're the more soft, not the softer side, but I feel like the only hardcore you ever hear is whenever we're at hard times or going to a show.
I like to dabble in hardcore on my own. But yeah, it's definitely not something that I'm like, for example, I don't hear hardcore on a daily basis. You know, you'll find me blasting Jeff Rosenstock more than anything nowadays. You know, like that garage punk. It's kind of like my wheelhouse in this moment in time. But okay, yeah, I'm willing to go into this with an open mind, though. You know, kind of get a better feel for the record. So with that being said, let's get into the track-by-track discussion of Errorzone by Vane, starting with the opening track, Vane Vibrance. Arnold.
Vane : /last Vibrance.
Yes. What are your thoughts on the intro track here?
So I know here we're eventually going to make stickers or shirts of this, but we're sticklers for openers and closers.
We are.
I will say this is a solid opener. This gives us an immediate dive into what to expect from this album. You have like the very heavy riffs. You also have some drum and bass, you know, that with that Winston's Amen Brother break sample, the one that's like the most sampled break in all of like music history, like you know, that
Yeah.
like that being in there, you're kind of given this deep dive of like, okay, this is gonna be some drum and bass, there's gonna be some glitchy, there's gonna be some hardcore, like and just you're just thrown into this whole song that has lots of glitches. It has a lot of breaks, stops, changes in tempos. You even have like the riffs that are in the song. They're the same. In like the beginning, they're played in chords, and then later on, they're played in like single notes. But they sound entirely different, even though they're the same thing. I just think this is, just like the song title, like a virus is just something that's cyclical and at the same time, unpredicting.
Yeah, so again, as we always say on this show, we are sticklers for album openers and album closers. I will agree with you. This, as an opening track, just blew my fucking mind right out of the bat. It's an amazing intro. I know you said a drum and bass. It was like the underlying
There's like a sample here and there.
sample here and there, but I got a huge like new metal, groove metal vibe from this song. And I never realized how welcome that would be to my ears. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I feel like new metal has been so maligned over the years because I guess some of its biggest bands were some of its shittiest representatives. But the way that new the way that new hardcore and new metalcore bands are bringing in elements of new metal, groove metal, I think they kind of gave it the one thing that it was lacking the most at the time, which was, like a very genuine ferocity. I feel like if you go back and listen to like some late 90s, early 2000s new metal or groove metal acts, you can tell that everything about them is just posturing. I mean, I don't think the music sounds as tough as they wanted to. And then, this new crop of hardcore and metalcore bands that are adding those elements, those recognizable, a lot of groove, a lot of break beats and shit like that, and adding that to this new style of metalcore, add that much needed genuine gruffness and ferocity that new metal was missing. Mm-hmm. And to say that this, on a technicality, I can say that this is possibly my favorite new metal song.
Yeah, I agree. This is something of a new metal sound, but it's like having the DJ in there, but the DJ doesn't do stupid shit. Like, like the guitars do what the DJs could do.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and again, you kind of took the words out of my mouth with the the multiple switches and different passages and phrases throughout and faces throughout the song. And I was just super impressed. I managed to fit so much in such a small amount of time. This song is like what, 2 minutes and change? Yeah. And it goes through like 4 or 5 switch ups over that span of time. And that was awesome. This song comes at you at breakneck speed. It does set the tone for the rest of the album. I like how the vocals have like that kind of, they're not the heaviest, they're not the gruffest vocals. So that just kind of adds like an air of relatability to the band. It does kind of, for all of the high tech drum and bass and studio trickery that they employ, I feel like what grounds the song and possibly what grounds the album is, and I don't mean this in an offensive way at all, the kind of amateurish feel of the vocals. It sounds like local hardcore band with studio band production behind it. And I mean that in the best way possible. I love the sound of that. So all in all, I really, really enjoyed this track. Spoiler, I enjoyed just about every song on this album. My only problem with the album was, in my opinion, lack of memorability. So you're going to hear me say that I liked every single song up until this point. There's maybe elements of it that I don't like, but for that, let's get into the next track here. Old Data in a Dead Machine. Old Data in a Dead Machine. How do you feel about that, man? How do you feel about this track?
Well, what I will say about this track is coming off from Vibrance, you get like a non-stop vibe coming into this song. Like it's kind of like the switch hasn't been changed. It's definitely continuing on from Virus. You know, you get like a bot. If you like the band Botch or Converge, you might understand like why this band sounds so good. And it's because they kind of take elements from Botch with some of their breakdowns. Like it's like a mathcore tweedle like breakdown. And I honestly fuck with that song. You know, I do like the opening lines to the song. The words create lies, pain can be trusted, and because this isn't just like your hardcore that's like I'm just saying a bunch of shit, just listen to it. They kind of create statements, and this one kind of stays with me because to me when the singer or the lyricist or whoever wrote this says words create lies, it's almost like words are something that can or cannot be true, and any or every word from someone's mouth can be taken like should be taken with a grain of salt. But when it comes to pain is something that you know is true no matter where that pain lies. Like it's definitely something that's not filtered like words can be. And you get these kind of like not, I would say like educated lyrics in some of these songs, and this is one that definitely stays with me. Old Data in the Dead Machine is definitely good data in this machine.
All right, okay. I like this track. I love the incredibly aggressive intro. This sounded more to me like your standard. I mean, when I say standard, it sounds generic, and I don't mean it in that sense. But this was very much what I remember metalcore being like. This one did give me a much more metalcore feel, when the last track gave me more new metal vibes. Mm-hmm. I will say I'm not sure if I am a big fan of the clean vocal passages. That did kind of take me away from it. And full disclosure, even in the older days of metalcore, that I had the same issue with like the clean vocals, because I don't know why it's such a thing in metalcore to process the shit out of clean vocals whenever you put them on record. And going back to my notes on the intro track, what I loved about it was the raw kind of unprocessed feel of the rougher vocals, and then to go from that to a clearly edited clean vocal passage. I don't know, just kind of took me out of the song while I was hearing it. And by that same token, those clean vocals came in the more digital driven passages of the song, the more tech oriented passages of the song. So I couldn't appreciate those as much as I wanted, because I knew it was going to come with those clean vocals that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know.
It's kind of weird that rubs you the wrong way, like, because you're one to be like, I like more clean sounding things, or like.
Yeah, but again, I feel like the issue comes in the vocal processing that is found throughout the genre of metalcore. I think some bands use that to their advantage. Again, I know you said not to make the comparison, but I think when Code Orange did clean vocals on Forever, it didn't sound digitized enough to take me out of the of the song, or the music around it helped the clean vocals, whereas this felt like modern metalcore, where the clean vocals just kind of come in for the sake of clean vocals, and the parts of the song that they're attached to, I don't feel like do much for the rest of the song. And once you get that blistering intro that was Vibrance, I just kind of want to keep going there. Once you put me in that mood, that like, I'm just gonna yell my fucking lungs out. That's kind of what I want. And then I'm getting that, and then we get this clean vocal passage that there was no alluding to at any point on the record. I don't know, man.
I think that kind of plays into their whole game of like having switches and glitches here and there, or like a virus in a computer, because it's like you don't expect it type thing. And also the clean vocals weren't even like super clean, like crisp, like they would it like in Forever, like with Reba Meyer's vocals. But this one seemed more like just almost like it's a changing of a tempo or a changing of like a mood within the song, but without just needing like what you needed in Vibrance. Kind of like instead of doing like instrumental things, they're using more vocal things. That's how I kind of took it.
Yeah. And you know what? If that was their if that goal that, then that's dope. But if I'm being completely honest, I'm not sure they hit the mark on it on my personal taste. But aside from those clean vocal, everything else about this song I did absolutely love, though. So this could have been a favorite of mine, but then the clean vocals came in. So
it really threw you that off, like
it really did. It really did. It did. I don't know. But then again, like I said, I've never been a fan of clean vocals in metalcore. But then again, when I'm talking about the metalcore that I listen to, I'm talking about like 2010's Christcore. So
completely different. Completely different.
Devil Wears Prada, fucking August Burns Red, and all that shit.
Under Oath and shit.
But they all had that same issue, though. That Under Oath is the only band that escaped this. But every other metalcore band, when they had clean vocals, they just had to process the shit out of them. They had to add, auto-tune, or just kind of do all these other things to accommodate for the fact that metalcore singers are not the best singers.
And maybe that's why Under Oath succeeded, because the singer, like for the clear parts, wasn't the metalcore singer.
Yeah, exactly. And also the fact that they embraced the fact that Aaron Gillespie is a flawed singer. They were like, no, we're Christian, but we're still punk. And we're going to let this dude's vocal flubs be a part of the song. It sounds cool either way, So I think they're the only band that has escaped the clear vocal curse of metalcore. And I really wish Vane would have been one of them too. They seem to be heading in that direction, but I don't know. I think the vocal processing got the best of them, and it took me out of it.
Did you listened to anything?
Those are my thoughts.
Have you listened to anything like besides this album? Like after listening to this album, like from Vane?
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I have not. I need to, but I don't know why. I forgot who I was talking to about what I think the saddest record of all time is, and I told him "A Crow Looked at Me" by Monty.
So you're still on that album?
I'm still on that album, and Phil Elverum also dropped The Microphones in 2020. So I've been listening to The Microphones in 2020 as well.
Understood.
In between listening to this record, so I do need to go back and listen to more Vane. But
I will suggest that
it's been all Phil. Right now it's been all Phil Elverum all day, and I need help. send help, please.
Well, hopefully that's not a real cry for help. So while we go into this next song.
Let's get into Rebirth Protocol. Arnold, what are your thoughts on Rebirth Protocol?
So I think we get back into the whole new metal sound on this song. I don't know if you'll agree with me. Like, there's some metalcore vibes into this, but when you have that siren-esque like DJ new metal sound coming off the guitar, it doesn't make this sound like what maybe you would consider another bland or typical metalcore song. Even though that's an insult, but leave that be. They do a good job in taking the good parts of new metal sound that like the DJs made and completely avoiding the horrible parts of new metal, which was the rapping aspect to the songs. So I think that's good on them. That's definitely good on them that it completely ignored the rapping part. I love rap. I love hip hop, but like some bands could not do it with the new metal sound. So I'm glad that they left out that part. So they took the good parts. Let's see, what other notes do I have in here? Yeah, this is a good song. It's not too bad. I do want to talk maybe a little about the lyrics, but I'll let you talk about the song, and then maybe I'll feel better about talking about the lyrics.
Okay, so my notes here, there are not a lot of notes on this track because one of my notes actually was that it was a very short track. I think this is possibly one of the shortest tracks on the record. I love the intro to it. Again, the intro to this track is amazing. I do feel like, as you mentioned, I got those new metal industrial vibes from this song. And again, it does make a good case for what new metal could have been. You know, what had there been, better statesmen for the genre, maybe it wouldn't have been as shit on as it has been. Because, if this is what new metal was, that would have been fucking dope. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. So this is definitely one of my favorite tracks. I do like that siren sound at the end that kind of leads into the next track. I do like that seamless transition from Rebirth Protocol into the next track. And yeah, I longer, because if I remember correct, I think the next track is an interlude, right?
Somewhat has like that kind of vibe. It's not really an interlude.
Yeah, it has that vibe. So why you would pair two very short tracks back to back is a decision that kind of baffles me. But yeah, I love this track. My only complaint is that I wish it was longer. Yeah, if you want to get into the lyrics, let's do that.
Yeah, so I like the lyrics. So in the song, there's lyrics that go, "For every error, there's a blessing within. Yet some people think it's funny to dilute and berate. While you keep missing the point, mine will only get sharper." And I believe this is the beginning of the track. And I like these lyrics because it's like there's always something to learn from any mistake, and no matter what you do, people will make fun of you or hate you for your mistakes, or like no matter what you do, like mistakes are done, people will be there to judge you. But they're missing the point of being human. That's what I'm getting from these lines. So they are missing the point of being human, and your will and intelligence will lead you to become wiser with your mistakes. So I like to deep dive into the lyrics whenever we're reviewing an album, and these lyrics kind of stick to me. So I just like to mention that. I don't know if you have any other lyrics or anything you wanted to mention from this song or any previous song.
No, I feel like lyrically speaking, this is one of the songs that spoke out to me the most for the same points that you have made. So again, this is one of those things where you kind of beat me to it. But yeah, so with that being said, we'll get into the next track, which is a Broken Glass Complexion. Broken Glass Complexion. How do you feel about this track here?
So I like the transition from the last song to this song. I don't have a lot of notes on this song just because it was so short. But I will mention that I do like the part between the lines where it says, "I grabbed the thorns to turn the world red, and Blood on My Hands, Your Tired Eyes Stare, or at 34 seconds, you have like this hint of a reverie or a daydream-esque like reverb vocal that that is like kind of out of nowhere, but I feel like there's a point to it later on in the album. So we can talk about that whenever we get there. Also, I like that this song seems very Deftones inspired. I'm not a big fan of Deftones, but I can kind of hear that inspiration in this song a bit. And there's also some, Glassjaw later on in the album. But yeah, like I don't know. Did you hear a Deftones?
I did get I guess what would be more of like a post-hardcore feel.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that I did get that vibe from it upon first listen. But again, I have to bring it up. Clean vocal passages, I think that's the one thing this band doesn't seem to nail for me, and they show up again on this track. But I will say, I think there was more method to them being here than there was on what was it, on Old Data. I feel like it made a little more sense here. It wasn't as cumbersome for me. I didn't mind it as much. But yeah, but again, I think that comes from the fact that, yeah, I did feel a post-hardcore influence on the track. I did feel like this is definitely some kind of like Deftones worship, a little bit, but still keeping it heavy enough, still keeping it in the vein of what Vane is, or what I'm understanding them to be. So, yeah, I hate that it's so short. I think that's going to be a recurring comment throughout the record, is that I hate songs that just kind of leave me wanting more. Because alluding to the comment that you made at the beginning of this review, I understand that idea of not wanting to place all your cards on the table and wanting to be like, leave something to the imagination, have your fans coming back for more, and to show that you can do more. But I think there's a difference between not showing all your tricks and having no more tricks up your sleeve. You know what I mean? And sometimes feel like shorter tracks here are more the latter than the former. And that is the thing that I feel gets in the way of me fully enjoying this record. I feel like songs like this, and maybe a Rebirth Protocol before it, I think they suffered from their length, not because they're short, because they're short songs that can be good, but I feel like they suffered because they're short because there wasn't enough in them. I kind of get that feeling.
I get you.
So I feel like that was I want to chalk it up to this being their debut full length record. Full length, it's still relatively short. This is their first full length record, so maybe that's why they couldn't kind of nail that balance, I guess, in terms of like musical portion control. But yeah, I feel like especially in a track like this, I did get that feeling that I was left wanting more, but not so much that I liked it so much that I wanted more of the same thing. I feel like I wanted more, I felt like there wasn't enough in this track for me. So maybe I just had an epiphany right now. Maybe that's a revelation of what's keeping me from fully enjoying the record. I've never talked it out. I've never really talked through my feelings about it until right now. But yeah, I especially noticed that in this song because I really liked what I got in this song, and I was expecting more. And when I didn't get more, I was pretty disappointed.
I get you. Okay. I'm glad you can hash it out and tell us like how you feel. So I guess that leads us into the next song.
Yeah, that takes us into the next song. Let's get into Anesthesia. Anesthesia.
So
a word I could never spell.
Anesthesia. Yeah, I don't think I could spell that either.
So yeah.
So Anesthesia.
I'm not sure if it's spelled right on the record.
You broke up. What's up?
I'm not sure if it's even spelled right on this record.
Well, my Word document says it's okay, so.
Okay. We'll let it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's hope Bill Gates is right.
Yeah.
So this song kind of serves to me as an interlude for the album. This is kind of like maybe like a palate cleansing song from the madness that was the first 4 tracks. Like, because you were just like paraded with these like metalcore, new metal, like beat down shit in the first 4 tracks, and this one's kind of like an interlude. And I can see why they gave this song the title Anesthesia, because it's the vibe of this song kind of gives me like, oh, like this is like a state of anesthesia, or you're just kind of like getting put under, or like this kind of like what's that term, like a limbo state.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is definitely a purgatory like state song. So I can't really say much more to that if I see this as an interlude. So I don't know what else you would want. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I feel like this stretch of songs, starting with Rebirth Protocol, do kind of, and again, the fact that I can't quite determine whether a song is an interlude, which are traditionally a little bit more bare, a little bit more skeletal than a main track. It does carry that dreaminess to it. It does kind of have that, as dreamy as a track like this can get, you know what I mean? It does kind of have that fuzziness to it. But again, is it an interlude? Is it a main track? Is it just unfinished? I'm not sure. There's definitely great ideas in this song.
Mm-hmm.
This is okay. Would it feel out of place for me to say that this song makes a great foundation to a hypothetical bigger song? Do you get that feeling from it?
I know. No, I kind of got this as just like something to take a break from. I'm not really like a build up in sort of of the next song. But to each their own. I can maybe if when I revisit this album, because I listened to this album quite a bit ever since it came out. So
you've been suggesting this since the first days of the podcast. So.
Dude, I love this album. I love what they're doing, and that's why I don't think you can compare them to Code Orange. But yeah, on re-listen, and then on re-listen, and then on re-listen, I will definitely take that information and do what I will.
All right, yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, I did feel like I wanted, or I felt like this song could build the building blocks to more. But I do, again, in the moment, I like all of these tracks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just when I try to collect my thoughts about them later that I kind of have a hard time, like, feeling like, what's up to me, because I feel like the parts that stick out of me about all of these songs are the elements that they enhanced of previous genres or previous attempts at the genre. So But yeah, I mean, all in all, I think this is a good song. Much like the last track, I do wish it was a little longer, a minute and 5 seconds. If you're gonna use this as a track to give you a break, I feel like, fuck it, stretch it to the 2 minute mark, man. Kind of milk that calm before the storm, and then just come back, kicking 10 times more ass than the first half did.
But do you think like maybe it's a minute because it like because of how not difficult, but like how the change ups and all these like this, like there's no sense of rest in like any of this album that like it should be a minute just because like maybe because the listener could be expecting it to be longer, like maybe that you want, but in actuality, in real life, you don't get that like the rest that you want.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it from that point as well, but yeah, I don't know. I guess that was my main thought, was the idea of like, if you're already going to give a break, you could use that extra minute of silence or not silence, but that extra minute of like relative calm to just kind of lay it on even heavier when you come back. And I feel like that would have made the second half of the record that much more impactful when if you would have extended that, quote unquote relief. But yeah, this is just all me coming up with hypotheticals because I like the song.
But it leaves you wanting more.
It leaves me wanting more. Yeah, it leaves me feeling like there's something that could have been done. And right now, I'm just throwing shit at the wall to see what it could be.
I feel like it's so purposeful for them to like leave the listener wanting more, because that's what they were kind of known for when they were playing live. Before this album. So I don't know.
Yeah, this one's a difficult one to wrap my head around, both the song and the album. But let's get into the next track here, Demise Automation.
I like how we spent a whole long time, like a whole, like, what, 10, 15 minutes for a minute song?
Yeah, way longer than the actual song.
Like, we could have listened to that song like 20 times.
Probably.
But, going into this next song, Demise Automation, this was one of their singles before the album came out. This song, they're bringing back the like stuff, like very botched to me, like good, like planned music. It definitely has its influences on its sleeve at points. This song is close to 2 minutes, but with the change ups throughout the song and the pushing of the pre-breakdown where you have the vocalist stretching out his words, where it's like, I'll be waiting for the pipe of dream bombs to burst, but like even longer than that. Like this song feels longer than it is. And I think that's something that's difficult to pull off. But definitely coming from Anesthesia to this, you're definitely hit with more shit.
Yeah, so this is a perfect example of like a foil to what I've been saying about the past 3 tracks, maybe. This track, even though it's still under 2 minutes, I believe, or I think it's right?
Yeah, it's like around 2 minutes. Or it is like 2 minutes and 5.
Yeah.
2 minutes y pico.
Yeah, it's actually 1 minute 48 seconds. So yeah, rounds about to 2 minutes. This one packs so much in it. I do like, again, that extended pre-breakdown. This is an example of a song that felt complete to me. It had so much going on. Everything in it worked. I liked the aggression of it. What I like that this song brought me back into that place where I'm enjoying the music and not wondering where I can fill in blanks. So This one's a highlight for me. I'm not sure if it's just this alone or if it's the song and its placement on the record after these three kind of limbo tracks. Are they tracks? Are they interludes? What are they? I'm not sure. And then this one comes right back, kicks you square in the ass, and I'm all about it. I really did like Demise automation. I don't have much to say about it because again, it's short. It doesn't feel as short as it is, but it is relatively short. But it uses its time incredibly wisely. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It hit all the marks, dude. I was actually
So this is like one of your favorite tracks, like you would say?
I would say 100%.
Like okay, like you would recommend this one? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do like this
song.
song.
We move on to. Do you have any other? From that, we move on to the next track. Doom Tech.
Now.
Doom Tech. Does this live up to its name? Is it a Doom Tech enough to be both Doom and Tech?
I honestly think they are probably if Doom Tech core is a genre, they are the ones like they are the forefathers or the founding fathers of Doom Tech. Because this is something that Code Orange ain't doing. Okay, like they're not bringing like big glitches like that. And that was the one thing in Forever that kind of bothered me compared to this album. Like the ones in Forever were kind of like you're just kind of putting that in there. This kind of feels like you're putting this in post. This one felt like more like real, more planned, and delivery was better. But that being said, let's go into the song. So this is one of the few songs that has some length to it compared to the other songs that are just like a minute and change or 2 minutes or close to 2 minutes. I do like that the beginning of this song, it sounds like maybe like a rapper is skipping back again because like the intro is kind of like cyclical. Like it has like this feeling where it's like, is this on repeat? But it's not. Like if I were to put this on a record player, I'd probably be like, oh shit, like this, my record fucked up for a little bit. I will also say, so referring back to what song was it where I was saying like, you have like this opening reverie, broken glass complexion. You get some of these cleaner vocals, like at 50 seconds, where he's saying, "I cage my head in the clouds, my feet underground," and then you get more cleaner vocals or dreamlike singing vocals at like 1:36 and 2:52. This is kind of like bringing broken glass complexion, that one piece, back down to later on in the album, and I like this. I like how they're referencing the song that was in the back and like that was in the top part of this album. I will say my favorite line is definitely in this song. My favorite, like this is my favorite song in the album. 1,000 cars and my loved ones died. Like that whole imagery of crashing 1,000 cars and your loved ones are dying, and like these thoughts of hyper violence and not wanting to have those. It sits very well with me. I like the imagery. I like the delivery. It's almost like someone has schizophrenia, and it is like the symptoms of schizophrenia where you have these images of like things, unwanted thoughts, or So this is definitely like pinnacle of the album. Virus Vibrance, Doom Tech. These are like very, very recommended songs of mine for this whole album, and my favorite part of the album is that 1,000 cars, and then where you have the reverb vocals singing on one track, and then pairing it with the rough. How did it get like this? To me, both kind of maybe referencing like a mania or a schizophrenia. It's definitely, I don't know. This is a lot in one of the only songs that has some length. So. Yeah. I will say, like this is my favorite track, honestly.
Yeah, I I very much enjoyed Doom Tech. This was a great song to the point that the clean vocal passages, they didn't bother me too much this time. I feel like, uh, yeah, this is definitely one of the more recommendable songs on the album because of the fact that I think they get all of these things right. You know, the elements that I thought were a little half baked or not fully developed um, in previous tracks, I think we're given a lot more thought and a lot more purpose on this track. And I think the length of the song really helps those ideas because it does give those elements room to breathe and grow and, you know, really settle into their respective moments. And yeah, they kind of, you know, you took a lot of the words out of my mouth here, so I guess I'll just reiterate what you said. And but I'll say, you know, I'll add to my opinion being that, again, all of those elements that you mentioned that I mentioned bothered me previously on the record, like the glitches, the clean vocals, the all of that. They were helped immensely in this song by being in a song of this length that doesn't overstay its welcome. It allows every part of the song to fall into place and just hit it just right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the end result is a fucking great track. Of all the tracks on this album, I know I said before this my favorite was I think I said it was Broken Glass Complex.
The Rebirth Protocol.
Yeah, it was Rebirth Protocol. Before this, I said Rebirth Protocol was my favorite, but you know, on second thought, it is Doom Tech. Mainly just because, again, I feel like this is what I wanted the whole album to be. Maybe not in terms of length. I didn't need 4-minute long songs throughout the entire record, but just the cohesiveness, how complete the song sounds. It's what I've been wanting from the whole record. I know you love this record and you've listened to it way more than me, but, you know, thought experiment. Start from this song and then start over. Tell me if you feel that some of the songs previous to this feel as complete as this.
Yeah.
You know?
I do agree. This, like, other songs aren't as nearly complete as Doom Tech. And I feel like the fact that it was a single, they knew that it's like, okay, we got to do something that's going to bring the people in. We have to hit all these marks. And they do that.
Exactly. And so I guess that just leaves the question, is it a time issue? Is it the fact that, you know, did the songs potentially suffer from being too short, that it didn't get to develop the ideas all the way? Or did the songs end up being so short? You know what I mean? Is it like a chicken or the egg type of situation? Were the songs short because the ideas were underdeveloped, or were the ideas underdeveloped because the songs were short? You know? Yeah. That's kind of the question that I have, because this song proves that they can write a song that is so complete.
Yeah.
You know? It does still stick with me that there is a three song stretch of this album that feels somewhat flimsy, you know. And then hearing this song is a breath of fresh air because it is such a complete song. So yeah, you know, we've always said the midway point of the album is the make or break. You know, if we didn't have to review this album, there's probably a couple albums we would have dropped halfway through. But so I'm glad this song came into the album at the time that it did, because I'm excited to hear the rest of it. You know, I'm stoked for the rest of the album because Doom Tech is that good of a song. So with that being said, let's get into Untitled.
So before we get into Untitled, what if you kind of considered those 3 songs that weren't complete as one whole song? Do you think that would change your mind?
I feel like there is enough of a stylistic difference between songs that I know that they are not one and the same. The only songs, okay, 2 out of 3 I can picture being one song, which is Rebirth Protocol and Broken Glass Complexion, because of that interwoven side sound that connects the two. But even then, I think that's the only connection between the songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is very clear sonically that they are separate entities. It is very clear that they are different songs united by the siren, right? And then Anesthesia doesn't have that either. So Anesthesia is even more clear that it is its own song. So it does kind of make it hard for me to lock them all together and be like, oh yeah, this is all one cohesive listen that leads me into the next track. So I don't know. I need to give it another listen, see if I can do that, if I can tell myself that that's what's happening. But right now, I think they're different enough that I know that they're different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And as the listener, you shouldn't be tasked to like just join these songs up.
Exactly. You know, a good example of an album that uses that, I guess you could call format, and does it better. I know you're going to think this is biased, but I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. The second half of Jeff Rosenstock's Worry, that medley at the end of it, all of the songs were separate. You know, they were their own songs. You had a garage punk, a ska song, a hardcore song, a ballad, but thematically, at least, they were connected enough that you could flow through them all, no matter how different they were. And in that span of time, as short as they were, because again, similar to this, all of the songs on that medley were like about a minute long until you got to Hellhole. You know, before that, the first 3 songs in that medley were all about a minute long, but they all connected in such a way that, in spite of the fact that they were so stylistically different, lyrically and, you know, just kind of aesthetically, despite being different genres, they still had things that held them together and created this whole cohesive medley of songs. Whereas this 3-song stretch, I don't know if you can say it does that. You know?
I get you.
I know it. I know you feel there might be some degree of bias because I love Worry, but I think that's the best example of, you know,
this is a very good example.
A medley of tracks.
It's a very good example. Very good example.
Yeah.
Because, you know, on that listen, I definitely considered it to be just like kind of gapless, but thematically, like, you know, it's gapless.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's just that 3-song stretch that, you know, gave me a hard time, but Demise Automation and Doomtech really did help kind of bring me back in.
Let's go into it. Track? Untitled.
Let's talk about Untitled. Your thoughts?
So I don't have a lot of notes on this song. You know, I will say that you get some Glassjaw influences here, especially in the beginning of the track. Like the vocals are almost delivered like the lead singer of Glassjaw, and they have that sort of like vibe. I don't know if you kind of got that or not. But yeah, that's all I really got on my notes. Like this song is pretty good, but not my favorite.
It's funny that you mentioned Glassjaw because I was trying to put a finger on it. I know that it was a familiar feel, you know. I was like, I know that this is an influence. This is something on its sleeve, but I couldn't quite place it. And as soon as you said, you know, even in the beginning of this review, when you were teasing this track, I guess, and you said, you know, oh, you can get some Glassjaw influences. I shit you not. In my head, I was like, is he talking about Untitled? Is that the one I'm thinking about? Because
it definitely is.
Because every other song that we could immediately get the influences, it was more geared towards like, oh, this sounds like new metal, or this sounds kind of industrial. This sounds like 2000s metalcore. This gives me XYZ vibe. And this was the only one that I didn't really feel fit those molds. So as soon as you said Glassjaw, I was like, it might be Untitled.
Yeah,
I'm not too sure.
Definitely was this song. Like I immediately on listen, I was like, yo, this is like Glassjaw-esque. At first, I also thought it was like, this kind of sounds like Julian-esque, because Julian has like Julian of Little Fears. He also delivered kind of like the guy from the Glassjaw. And Little Fears is a local band from Laredo, by the way. Check them out.
Amazing band. They're now defunct, but their Bandcamp is still out there.
Little Fears TX.
I think so. Yeah, Little Fears.
Bandcamp.com.
Bandcamp.com. I miss them so much.
Very good band. But like I definitely got like Glassjaw vibes.
Yeah, it's so great that you said that, because I could finally put that thought to rest. Because I was kind of racking my brains about where have I not okay. This sounds bad, but I promise I'm only saying it like this because I can't think of another way to say it. But I was listening to it and thinking, where have I heard this before?
Yeah, I get you.
But at the same time, and like I said, I don't mean that in a bad way, because I feel like what Errorzone, because this is all I've heard from Bane again, I think what Errorzone does best, I guess, where it shines the most, it's when it can kind of, tear apart its influences and put them back together in a better way. We have both mentioned already how they can get, such a maligned genre like new metal and turn it into the best possible version of what new metal can be,
Yeah.
And I feel like, Glassjaw was already great to begin with, so I don't think they did a better Glassjaw, but with the influence, they got that influence, kind of tore it apart and put it back together in their own image and made it work. It sounds like Glassjaw, but it sounds like a modernized, a Glassjaw through younger eyes, if you will.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's what Errorzone does best, kind of looking backwards and bringing that forward. So in that regard, yeah, I like the song. I'm glad I could finally put a name to the influence here. So yeah, but other than that whole spiel I just went on, yeah, not really many other notes. Are you ready to move on to the next track?
Yeah, of course. I'm always ready.
End Eternal. What are your thoughts on End Eternal?
I do like this song. This is like one on my list of like favorite tracks. You get it's because it's one of the more hard hitting compared to like the other songs. It's definitely like in your face. It's also one of the longer songs. I don't think as long as Doomtech or Doomtech, but it's definitely up there. And then nearing the end, you have a lot of glitch noises, just like reminiscent of like maybe the beginning of the album, and you have the best use of a sample of the voicemail lady going goodbye to cap off the song. So I thought that was like, oh my god, that's like fucking so good.
Yeah, I did definitely. I kind of double take when that when that happened. And is it just me, or are you starting to sense a pattern here that when they allow themselves to write longer songs, they tend to be better?
Yes, I do agree. Like even Virus Vibrance, that one's like what, like close 2.5?
Yeah, close to 2.5.
Yeah, I think they definitely should allow themselves more time to flesh out their ideas, and then maybe not have that many songs, but definitely have more quality songs. So I do agree with you there. That's why this album's not a perfect 10, but it's something.
Yeah, so that's actually going to be my only note on this song is the fact that when they allowed themselves to write longer songs, when they allowed themselves the room to let these ideas again settle into place,
Mm-hmm.
the result is so much better. You
Yeah.
know, I think you made a great point. You can sacrifice quantity for quality. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's not to
Mm-hmm.
say that a short song is bad. That's not at all what I'm saying. It's just what you do with that time. For example, one of my favorite hardcore EPs is Trash Talk's Plagues.
Yeah.
The entire EP clocks in at like what, 15, 16 minutes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They do so much with that time, and all the songs are so cohesive that the time, the brevity of the song does not hurt it. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
in this case, specifically that 3 song stretch that I keep talking about, uh, again, it's more of like, are the songs shorts because the ideas aren't fleshed out? You know, is that,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's more so the issue than being a stylistic choice. And let me tell you, when you and I were in a band, I feel like a lot of the songs I wrote ended up being super short, like maybe like 1.5 verses. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why is because I ran out of ideas. You know, I couldn't flesh them out more than what I had.
Yeah.
So I know what it's like to be in that position songwriting wise.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for a huge chunk of our quote unquote career. So
Well, we were both there for for
yeah,
like beginning to the end.
beginning to the end. So yeah, I feel like if there were any notes, if I had the band in front of me right now, I think
Mm-hmm.
I would just say, don't be afraid to write longer songs, man. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
you're capable of writing super cool, super tight, really precise songs. The only problem is you don't let your like they kind of rush through their ideas, and that kind of hurt the album on my part. But
Mm-hmm.
this song is proof that that doesn't have to be the case. You know,
Yeah.
this song, Doom Tech, the opener, all of those songs are proof that, you know, time management, you know, within the songs, you know, really helps. You don't have
Yeah.
to rush to the finish line, man. It's a marathon, not a race, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, again, that's what I felt the most in this song because I was satisfied by this song and the length didn't hurt it, you know? It
Yeah.
made it more than anything, it did make me wonder why have they been afraid of a long song up until this point, you know? When they can pull them off. And it's not even that long. It's 3 minutes. It's a standard song length.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts on it. And again, every thought that I have on an individual song translates to the rest of the record. So I'm sorry if my tangents just kind
Mm-hmm.
of go back to the rest of it. But yeah, I feel like I can't, especially in this album, I can't listen to the songs in a vacuum. I think they do kind of connect to each other because you do see a progression as the
Yeah.
songs, as the album goes by. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you have any other thoughts on End Eternal?
I don't. I do not.
Let's get into the title track here, Errorzone. Do you think this track deserves the, uh, the the honor of being the title track? How does this fare for you?
I think so because this is the longest track. If I'm not mistaken, this one is the longest track. I don't know if you have it written down. I want to say it is.
It clocks in at 4 minutes and 15 seconds.
Yeah.
So
So
I think it's about as long, if not just a couple seconds longer than Doomtech.
Okay, so and this is there's a pattern here. The longer the song, the better quality, the better sticking it is to my brain. And I will say this is really good song. At 2 minutes and 20 seconds, you get like a clean like vocal that has like a filter overlaid that kind of like sounds like something from 2000s. I don't know if you kind of got that. So they kind of like bringing it back to like influences.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then we also get some piano keys, like some piano in the 3 minute mark. So like they're bringing out a different instrument. But I will say this song, if placed as the last song, would be the better closer than Quitting Infinity, which is the actual closer. So
Yeah, I feel like this song does kind of pack more of a punch than the actual title track. I definitely agree with you on that.
So you think? What do you mean? You mean errorzone is like better punch than closer? Because you said title track.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yeah, better. Packs a bigger punch than the closing track. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. And that's my quarrel with this. That's why it's not a perfect album. Just because like this finishing off, like you opened up so well, and then you got me sticking around the middle, and then at the end you're just kind of like you shit the bed.
Yeah. I think you kind of got my thoughts on this one. You want to just skip to the end here, since we're both kind of alluding to the same
Yeah,
thing. Let's talk
yeah,
about
sure.
Quitting Infinity. So you already said you don't think it's that strong a closer.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely agree with you, but let me hear your reasons why. Let's see if we're on the same wavelength here.
So it's not as dynamic as errorzone was, because errorzone had a whole different instrument, had a whole different like change in feel through the song. Let's see what's else. What else do I have? I feel like this one, like in their new release that they just had out as Vane.fm, which is I'm assuming they're kind of either like I don't know if that's going to be their new name or something, but that's what they put out their new album as, and it's Spotify has them under Vane. I will say this is not as good as the demo version of the song that comes out in their 20 seconds 20 hours album that they just put out. The demo is very gritty, very raw, obviously due to a lower production cost. The work it sounds entirely like better in a sense that this song like is cleaner. Like it just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit to me. This song does not fit. And if they put this song as like a bonus track, it would have been better, but definitely not a closing track. This should have been more up on the list, or if not off the album.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It doesn't feel as dynamic to me. I think it is a perfectly serviceable song, but this is a closer, man. Perfectly serviceable. It's not. That's not the name of the game here. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I haven't heard a demo version, so I don't have an opinion on that. Maybe I need to hear it to.
Yeah, definitely listen to the new release they put out.
But yeah, like we've said, man, we're sticklers for openings and closers, and albeit as serviceable a song as it is, doesn't stick the landing for me. This song kind of comes and goes for me. I really do wish errorzone was in its place.
Yeah.
That is 100% true. So, Well, there you go, man. We've gone through the album. Before we get to ratings, what are your thoughts now that we went through the album? You've heard a different opinion on it. What are your thoughts looking like on this record right now?
No, I'm still going to stick strong with this album. I thoroughly enjoy. I will always pop this in to my earbuds or on my phone. I'm definitely loving it. For the album, for 27 minutes, this album does what it needs to do and leaves before it becomes unwelcomed, in my opinion. It left right when the host felt like, hey, yeah, I need to shut the party down, and it's already opening the door and leaving.
Yeah.
So, still like one of the better metalcore, new metal like influenced artists that does things right. In the songs that they don't do right, I feel like they're still okay. But in the songs that they do right, I said do. In what they do right is it's definitely something that I'm gonna go back to, and that's why I go back to this album so much because of their singles, because of Doom Tech, because of errorzone, because of Virus Vibrance. It's because of those hard hitting, like memorable tracks. I will always refer back to this album. So that being said, I'm gonna keep it the way it is. Like my rating does not change of this album. I love it.
All right. Yeah. 100%. I definitely feel you on that. I enjoyed this record for being my introduction to this band. It's a good album. Again, it's just that 3-song stretch in the middle that keeps me from loving it, and I can see its significance in the current musical landscape, being that I'm not sure if they were the first or even the biggest band to do it, but I do think they're one of the bands that do the most with this weird pseudo new metal revival wave going on in the world of hardcore. A lot of bands are adopting that, kind of groove metal, kind of new metal riffage, and I haven't really heard bands do it as good as Vane did over the course of this album. So in that sense, I can see its significance. I could see these guys being fucking one of the 4 horsemen of the new metal revival apocalypse. And I mean that in the best way possible. I think we're finally gonna get a version of the genre that we should have gotten, all those years ago. And yeah, I enjoyed this record. I wish, like I said, that song stretch, I wish some of their ideas were better fleshed out, because the ideas that are there are great. You know what I mean? It did have me wondering if their next release, can build on these ideas. If
I do want to talk about their next release, or like, so you go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I want to say if they do improve upon those ideas, if they do flesh out those ideas that they kind of left incomplete for me, I would view this album much more positively. Which is to say I don't view it positively. That's not to say I don't view it positively. I think this is a good album, but I do think it could be better. And I wonder if their, more recent releases reflect that train of thought.
Well, regarding their new releases, I will say in this last song, "Quitting Infinity," they do have the line that it's all old data in a dead machine. Please rewrite me. It makes me think they totally planned out their newest release, which is what they put out is like some different mixes and demo versions of certain songs, and with an addition of some new songs. So I definitely think like they were planning in the future when they made this song. So I feel like they're one of the few bands that maps out what they're gonna do, or they mapped out what they plan to do.
Okay. All right, I'll give that a listen. But now that we went through our final thoughts, let's do plugs. Yeah, I mean not plugs, ratings. Yeah. So
I'll let you go first.
Okay. So I give this album 7 gigs of storage in the Dead Machine out of 10.
Okay. I thought you were gonna give it a lot lower, considering like the way you spoke about this album. I'm glad you gave it a 7.
I give it a 7 because I feel like its successes are louder than its failures, but I couldn't give it higher than that because its failures, albeit not as loud as its successes, are almost there. You know what I mean? Virus Vibrance, Doom Tech, and End Eternal are all amazing tracks that where they preceded or where they preceded or followed by better tracks would make a much more amazing album. It's like a sense of balance almost, because you have 3 really good songs and then 3 songs that almost ruined the album for me. So but I liked the songs I liked way more than I hated the songs that I didn't like, if that makes sense. So
that does make sense.
Because of that, it does edge out to about a 7 for me.
Okay. I'll give this album 8 gigabytes out of 10, but with a few megabytes onto that 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's fair. It averages out to about a 7.5, something like that.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
All right. So that was our review of Errorzone by Vane. Arnold, anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, so down below on the video, not for the audio, I guess, go to youtube.com/timebombvids, not videos, vids, for, some stuff I've been putting out, some random, it's mainly random stuff, and then I'm putting out the podcast stuff. So if you want to rewatch that, follow us on Hindsight 2020. If you want to give me an Instagram follow, it's Arnold from Texas. And just hang out. Just hit me up. Message us. Email us. Whatever.
Yeah. I guess my plug would be for this show. And also, our DMs are open. Hit us up if you want us to talk about a particular record, want to hear us talk about, you have any suggestions for the top 5 whatever segment, because that gets the most engagement. Hit us up. We're here. We want to talk to y'all. Want to plug that we're going to do a review of LFO Summer Girls this Thursday.
It's going to be a lyric breakdown, so I will put I'll put my screen up. I'll put my screen up with the lyrics, and we can go line by line.
Yeah, of LFO Summer Girls. That's going to be great. Is it just going to be us, or do you want to ask anybody else to be on that? Because this is going to be fucking hilarious.
I would love for anybody's input on that album. Or that song, sorry.
Okay, and then on Sunday, we are going to hopefully be speaking to our good friend Roger Ramirez, because we're going to be talking about Schoolboy Q's Oxymoron. So if you want to hear 3 very white guys talk about an amazing hip-hop record, then tune in on this very Facebook page Sunday at 7:30. That's going to be a lot of fun. Every time that Roger comes on, he's very opinionated. We we love having him on the show, but he's the reason we decided to go to 2-hour episodes. That's going to be great. So please stick around for both of those. We'll see you guys on Thursdays, and if not, we'll see you guys on Sunday. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you guys had a good time listening to this, and I hope you guys check out the record. I think Arnold will be updating the playlist where we put the records that we review. So thank you guys so much. Stay safe, and we love you. Bye.